Welcome to the Payback pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen, and before I get started, I just want to say something briefly to one subscriber of mine, and this is to Sarah Hyde. And she's been one of the people that I consider a person that I actually very much respect because of how she spoke to me in January when I was having my problems physically. Because I was having a lot of pain, I had a kidney stone. She spoke very friendly and very caring, and I appreciated that. And there are a lot of subscribers who have spoken to me in the last couple of years, so she's one of them. But I found out through her fiance, his name is Morgan, that next to being not able to comment due to the fact their child had destroyed their phone, a relative of hers had passed away. And that really upsets me very much, that she's really having a lot of problems dealing with that. And I wish to say to her, if she sees this, or her fiancé, Morgan, Sarah, I'm very sorry for the loss of your family. And I really can't say any more than I hope that it'll make sense to you eventually, that they're not gone. And my belief, I'm not Christian, at least not anymore, but I believe that they're always with you. And they're always watching you. And they're always loving you. As long as you love them, they will always be there. And I know that's not 100% a great thing to say, especially that you still feel sad and there's a lot of pain and your fiancé Morgan is experiencing this with you. Know that people understand. And I'm rooting for you to feel better about yourself and not to be too badly hurt that they're not physically there. But as I said earlier, by my perspective, they're on the journey. That's a Native American thing in America. And I believe you're from England, so just to let you know, they're still with you. They're watching you and they're proud of you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to this show, ladies and gentlemen. I just repeated myself. I guess the reason why I repeated myself is because I'm thinking about the pre-show and the contents of what we saw. We saw one repeat match and one match that made me do a double take like, why? But before we do that, let's talk about what happened with the King and Booker T. I really did like what Booker T said and the King said. The King said what a lot of us fans believe had happened with Shane and Vince. That Shane pretty much left because he really didn't believe he was going to get anywhere in the company. That Stephanie was going to get more than him. But I also do believe that even though it was a work shoot, I really believe that a lot of information that the King said about him leaving because he just knew he wasn't going to get anywhere was a shoot. But the part about the hostile takeover isn't obvious work. What I truly believe, what happened why Shane came back was that Vince asked him to come back. I don't believe Vince McMahon is going to give total control over to Shane, unless I'm wrong, unless someone knows something I don't know. I don't believe he's going to give it back. He asked him to come back because he felt like the company was in trouble. Because the company has been going through a lot of turmoil in the last couple of years. And the viewership has dropped. And it's not good. So I do believe that was the wisest thing for him to do. Booker T spoke well because he's pretty much saying what we fans have been saying. That we want to see the next generation enjoy what we've been enjoying since we were young. I have a son that's 19. And I don't know if he ever saw much wrestling because he's with his mother. He's never seen it. But if he ever did, I'm hoping that he'll continue seeing it when he becomes a full-grown adult. And when he has a child or children, that they can watch the product as well as I have. I don't want to see the product go away. So this is what I'm hoping will not happen. So I enjoyed those segments. The matches, though, I didn't enjoy. Kalisto and Ryback, I don't know why that happened. This is the second time, as far as I understand, those two have faced each other in the pay-per-view, and the same outcome again. This hurts Ryback because Ryback is not doing anything. Ryback has been a heel now for a while, and people, they boo him a lot, but it doesn't mean they want to boo him. They'd rather just boo him because they're not happy what happened. They really enjoyed him as a face. And when they switched him to a heel, that was a bad move. And that hurt him. And it's sad. Kalisto is not doing anything. This is a feud that the WWE believes the US Championship should have. That makes it worse for Kalisto. I'm not a big Lucha Dragon fan. I'm not a big Sin Cara Kalisto fan. I'm just not. Not because they're Mexican wrestlers. I'm just not a big fan of them. They're alright, but I'm not a big fan of them. I guess because they just don't have that much spotlight. You just don't see much from them. And when you see Kalisto, it's sad to see that he's holding that title and they should be doing something with him. And they're doing nothing. Second thing. Now, I spoke earlier about Sarah Hyde and Morgan Hyde. When it comes down to it, Morgan likes Baron Corbin because, as he said in a comment to me, he and his character have a lot in common. So, and I am going to do a Booking the Wrestler, dude. I've said it earlier. I'm still going to do it, and maybe with a little twist in it. But why did he have the job here? The guy is holding the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal win. And then they're showing the freaking award at ringside. And instead of focusing on the guy and making sure that he wins, he loses here. I see no real reason why he had the job here. Why couldn't he win? Why did Dolph have to win this on the pay-per-view? It's bad enough it's on the pay-per-view, but then it's a win for Dolph. Baron Corbin should have been on the main show. They only have 5 matches in this show. So I think he could have been on the main show. Would at least rounded the number to 6. So 5 was not very good. So, yes, I would have been even angrier if it was on the main show and he jobs. But he deserved to be on the main show. He's the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. So I'm going to drop it at that. And let's move on to the main show. Now, I'm not going to do these in sequence. I'm going to do them out of sequence. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. The problem I had here is this. I wasn't against Sami Zayn. I wasn't against Kevin Owens. I liked them both. But the problem here is that the build for them has been bad. They had months of lag of nothing for these guys to do at all. Then you squish them together. Then worse yet, when you're about to build into WrestleMania and you give them the chance to actually go up against each other in WrestleMania. No. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about it because that's what I'd rather have seen. I know I'm kind of botching this on purpose. I'm doing it on purpose because they should have had this at WrestleMania. They could have had a better build than what they had going into Payback. Because when it came to Payback, it sounded really good, but then they didn't do anything. Because when it came down to it, and this is where it doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you put Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose alongside Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens? Mush them together and make sure Kevin Owens gets no shine and Sami Zayn gets no shine, but you get Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose a shine. And it isn't even a good shine either. They have a problem too, and I'll get to that in a minute. But was the match good? Yes, they had a great match. It wasn't the match of the night for me personally. There are 2 matches that are first and second place, but these 2 were not it. And when it came down to it, it was a good ending. I was alright that Kevin Owens won it. Now, I'm going to move on to The Miz and Cesaro. The only reason I'm doing this is because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were still in it. Did I enjoy the match between Miz and Cesaro? Yeah, I did. But someone tell me below, why the hell was this man wearing white and black? Couldn't he wear an entire white suit, white jacket, with white pants that rip off? Or maybe he couldn't get one. Why couldn't he just wear the black on black, which was really classy, that makes you think of 007, ladies and gentlemen. He is a 007 knockoff that actually was working. But you seen white and black, he looks so mismatched. And that kind of took away from me. But was the match great? Yes, it was a great match. I enjoyed seeing Cesaro being done so well. Could I have not had Kevin Owens talk? Well, when you look at what he did with Byron Saxton beforehand, was not good. It seemed spontaneous and it wasn't that good. And when it came to talking and commentary, it was a wise thing to do. Actually having that match, well, not match. Well, if you're going to talk about Kevin Owens matching his wits against Byron Saxton and Michael Cole, you could say he did a better job than them. But was it good in the beginning, in the previous match? No, that interview seemed to be kind of botchy. But when you see this madness that happened at the very end of the match and Cesaro losing, you wonder, okay, at Extreme Rules, are we going to have a fatal four-way for the... I would have liked Cesaro just to win that title. I would have liked to have The Miz go up against Kevin Owens. The Miz go up against Sami Zayn. But The Miz going up against Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro, if that's what they're going, I don't want to see it. But they did try their hardest to make it work. And I'm going to go with that. Now, Dean Ambrose versus a... Y2J did a good job here. Dean Ambrose did an okay job here. But there was no build. The problem was the build was not good. For the simple reason that there was nothing to lose here. Chris Jericho lost the highlight reel. Dean Ambrose now has the Ambrose Asylum. About to botch that. But why couldn't it have been some type of lose to either one? If Chris Jericho loses, he never gets the highlight reel back. If Dean Ambrose loses, the Ambrose Asylum is not shown and the highlight reel is brought back. I think would have been a better dynamic than just Dean Ambrose pisses off Chris Jericho and Chris Jericho saying, apologize! Apologize now! Apologize! Stay down! Stay down! That's what we got during most of this match. It was a good, okay match. Maybe I'm kind of giving it a little more than what it is. It was an okay match. It was about a Raw style match. I didn't hate it, but it was okay. And in the end, Dean Ambrose won it, but I just didn't feel like it was much there. Now, let's move on to the thing that really got a lot of people worried and upset and also brought the show down a bit. Enzo Amore and Kaz versus the Vaudevillains. Now, before I start, seeing New Day at ringside, eating pizza and watching it was funny. But I gotta admit, seeing them stay there after Enzo got hurt, I kind of think was a bit of a mistake. They could have got up and walked over and actually checked. Or at least stood up and seemed to be worried a little bit. Because in this situation, what happened, it deserved a lot more emotion than what it got. But before I get to that, did the Vaudevillains do well when they first came out? Oh yes, I love the black and white setting. Of course, you're not going to get that 100% in the arena. They did do white lights or gray lights to try and make it look good. But to me, seeing it on television instead of at the arena was a lot better. I grew up at the point when I was a little kid, back in the 70s, yes, I'm that old, I had a black and white TV as a little kid. And when I became near an adolescent, I got a color TV. Unless I looked at my parents' TV and they had black and white. I mean color, I'm saying black and white. They had color TV. I was given a black and white TV. I could watch TV in black and white, which was kind of cool, but kind of pisses me off because I kind of wanted a color TV. Not until I got like 11 and got one. But the point is, the black and white setting actually makes them look good. Kaz and Enzo Amore are just goofballs that are just fun to watch. And I enjoyed it. Bada bing, bada boom, how you doing? That kind of sounds like not a Jersey attitude, but like a Brooklyn attitude. An Italian who is from Brooklyn. If you guys are Italian that are from Brooklyn, you know. You know, we got this certain attitude now, you know. We can do whatever the hell we want, I know. Something like that. Of course, it's a little different. That's kind of what it was when I was a little kid. Because I did meet people from Brooklyn. They kind of had that attitude, like a wise guy kind of attitude. But the point is, I loved it. But here's the thing that worries everyone. How badly did Enzo get hurt? Now, at the end of the show, we heard that he had a concussion. But he could move his arms and legs, which was great. He was able to respond. That was great. But that whack he took was a nasty one. And as I said earlier with New Day, when they realized this wasn't a joke, a work, it was an actual shoot, I really felt like New Day should have got up. I mean, Xavier Woods, Biggie, and Kofi could have got up and actually been kind of concerned for him. I know they don't work with him in the actual roster, and he just started working in the current roster of WWE, not NXT, so they don't probably know him that well. Well, I think Xavier Woods knew him a bit because he also came from NXT or FCW at the time. So maybe he actually knew him a little bit, but I think they needed to give a little bit more emotion. There's no winner, so either they're going to have to get one of the other teams that lost at the end and then redo it. Vaudevillains versus whatever other team that was there. I can't remember who it is. I don't think it was Usos. I don't remember. I think either the Usos or the Dudleys. I don't remember which one. I think it's one of the two they'll choose. If they do it at all. Or it's going to default to the Vaudevillains. I'm not sure. We'll find out this Raw today. But anyway, we move on to the thing that... What the fuck? That was Natalya and Charlotte for the Women's Championship, which I felt was the match of the night for me personally. I know a lot of people are going to say, what? Are you serious? I'm saying yes. These two have great chemistry. They did grapple wrestling. It wasn't generally high-flying wrestling. To me, a lot of times grapple wrestling can be just as exciting as high-flying, high-impact wrestling. And I felt both these women did great. Seeing that that Bret the Hitman Hart was there, and you could see that the person that was really happy to see him was Ric Flair. I don't think I'll stick a picture of him there because it's not necessary. You guys saw him smiling when you saw him. Because he's glad he isn't dead from prostate cancer. He survived it. And I really believe that's the reason why we didn't really have a match between these two at WrestleMania, because I think that would have been better. Next to Sasha Banks versus Ric Flair, you got Bret Hart versus Ric Flair, which is a great dynamic. They didn't really do much together. Of course, Bret and Flair, Ricky, the Nature Boy Rick. But I enjoyed the interaction that the Natalya and the Charlotte. Now, if you ever wondered which one of these women to actually choose, if I could choose one of them as my girlfriend or someone to... I'm not saying to sleep with because... I'm a one-woman guy, I don't mess around. But if I had to choose one of these women, admittedly, I probably would choose Natalya. Even though Charlotte's very good-looking as hell. I just like Natalya's look. She's just a very good-looking woman who's ripped as hell with a nice body and a cute face as hell. But, now I just took away from what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I have a dirty mind. But anyway... Did I enjoy the match? It was the best match of the night until the end of the match. What the fuck? What are they thinking? Oh my gosh. Are you seriously telling me you're going to go to WWE where unless Brent came up with this idea himself or Natalya, unless one of these two came up with it, or maybe Rick himself, some moron decided to do a 97 screw job in Chicago. And we know 100% she didn't tap out. She didn't say, I quit. They did this to try and make a shock value. Now, I'm going like, are you freaking serious with this? Are you serious? Did you go in there with this? And I'm going, well, there could be two reasons why. One, they're going to drag this going into Extreme Rules. They're not going to end it this Raw. That Bret Hart is going to stick around for a couple of weeks and work with his niece. If this is going into Extreme Rules, I am for it. As long as Brent is going to be with his niece for the next couple of months, well, not couple of months, couple of weeks, because Extreme Rules will come within 4 weeks. If he stays with her for a month while they're trying to build up into this, I'm for this. Revenge for the Hart family against the Flair family. I said this. Didn't I say this? That the Flair family going against the Hart family would actually be a great dynamic. And if they're doing this, if they're going to go there by Extreme Rules, I'll easily accept this. But if Brent is not seen after this, and then Natalya is going into Extreme Rules alone, it's stupid. Now, unless he appears at Extreme Rules, and he can't really travel around for the next couple of weeks because even though he survived cancer, he may not be physically fit to be able to do a lot of traveling. If that's the case, then it's understandable. As long as he appears at Extreme Rules. If he doesn't, this was stupid. But that's if this is it. The second reason, briefly, is because they want to just make it more great for Natalya to win the title today. And that will make it even worse. If that's the same as what I just said. But let's move on. The second to the last thing to talk about is the power control of Raw. I had this feeling from the very beginning that there was going to be both of them. I'm not lying, ladies and gentlemen. You may think, yeah, you saying this. No. When I knew that Vince was coming out, something in my mind, in the back of this noggin said, why do I have this feeling that both of them are going to be running Raw? And I knew it. The way Steph talked, I just had this feeling, there's no way Vince is not going to pair these two together. And I was right. Steph and Shane are going to run Raw. And if I said Shane and Sean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said Shane and Sean. I have a tendency to do that. I'm bad with names. But the point is now both of these guys are running it. And to be honest, I think it wasn't necessary. Unless they're going to do a power struggle later where Shane McMahon is going to fight Stephanie McMahon and Vince is going to be knocked out of the picture. It's just going to be those two who's going to permanently run Raw. I can understand where they're trying to go with this, but to be honest, they didn't need to go here. They didn't. They could have just left it as it was. They could have. So let's move on to the last part, which was the second best match of the night, AJ versus Roman Reigns. This was a wild one. It made the show, after what happened with Enzo, it really did help the show at the end. It did. Was this the best match of the night? Like I said, no. The other one was between Natalya and Charlotte. For me, this was the second match of the night. And I believe that Roman Reigns did a very good job here. But the person who truly carried this match was AJ. I know a lot of Roman Reigns fans and Nicole Beth is not going to be too happy to hear this. And Nicole, I'm not a huge AJ Styles fan, but I have to see this for what it is. AJ helped Roman Reigns. He helped to put him over. Because in the very beginning of this show, the beginning of this pay-per-view, nobody wanted to see Roman Reigns. Nobody wanted to hear Roman Reigns. But by the end of that match, people were cheering as much as people booed him when he came out. They cheered his ass. And that is what we needed. We needed someone who could put him over. And they did it to the point where they didn't really say that AJ turned heel. As I said in my last Raw review, if he's turned heel, it will backfire. In this case, he didn't turn heel. He just did his match. His partners came in. The Usos came in. They did whatever they had to do. And in the end, Roman Reigns won that title of being liked. And I'm not talking about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I'm talking about the title of actually being liked in Chicago. Because the big places to go, Chicago, New York, Pittsburgh, and I can't remember the other one. I don't know why I'm blanking. On Philadelphia, there. Those are the ones that can actually win the crowds of other places over. A lot of times that happens. And I didn't say this during the show. During my review, but the crowd was great. And that's what I believe tonight you'll see more people cheering for Roman. I'm not saying it's going to be a total flip. But now you can see the people cheer them a lot louder. Now the question is going to be, when they do another match at Extreme Rules, are they going to keep doing as they did with AJ? Because they need to be careful with this with AJ Styles. If they push this too hard with him, they're going to miss this. They will ruin what they've done with Roman Reigns, and they will miss an opportunity to really do something special with AJ Styles. So I'll say that the show was good. It was a good show. It had a major problem in it and some smaller minor ones, but it was still good. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane View. Please give me a comment below. I'm actually going to be doing a Booking the Wrestler, or maybe 2. But it's going to be a little while because I just need a little time. You guys watch my next Raw review. Have a good day and have a good night. Peace!